I've made so many decisions in my life. Decisions I've thought long and hard about. Decisions I've regretted. Decisions I was proud of. But none of them ever felt like this. This decision is different. It feels enormous, like my entire existence is on the line. It's as though my very soul is being dangled over the edge of a cliff, and the choice I'm about to make will either pull me back to solid ground or plunge me into an abyss I won't ever climb out of. I know that might sound dramatic, but believe me, it's the truth. My chest is tight with the pressure, and every breath feels like a fight for air. In just a few days, I will stand at the altar, yes, an actual altar, ready to speak vows that I don't believe in, committing to a life I don't want, with a person I don't love. I'm not sure how else to put it plainly. I'm getting married next week, and everything about it feels wrong. It's as if I'm acting in some twisted play, forced to deliver lines I never rehearsed. The dread sits heavy on my chest, refusing to let go. I know this sounds insane. I can practically see the confusion on your face right now. You must be wondering how someone like me, someone who always claimed to value freedom, passion, and honesty, could end up in a situation like this. How could I knowingly walk into a marriage that contradicts everything my heart has ever yearned for? The truth is, I'm not just walking into it, I'm being pushed. I wish I could tell you that I'm making this choice out of love, or even out of some sense of misguided obligation, but it's more complicated than that. The reality is painful and terrifying. She's forcing my hand. She has knowledge of secrets I've buried for years. Secrets I didn't even dare speak aloud for fear they'd devour me from the inside out. These aren't trivial things, like embarrassing childhood stories or regrets about old mistakes. No, these secrets could have been my entire life, my jobs, my friendships, my family's respect, maybe even my personal freedom. She found out things about me that I've spent a lifetime trying to hide. I thought I had locked them away forever, built walls so high that no one could scale them. And yet, somehow, she discovered the cracks. She pried them apart and extracted the darkest truths I've never wanted anyone to see. And now she wields them like weapons, brandishing them at me every time I hesitate. If I refuse to go through with this wedding, she threatens to spill everything, to destroy the fragile stability I've managed to maintain. It's hard to describe the feeling of that kind of entrapment. It's like being dragged underwater while desperately fighting to reach the surface. Your lungs burn, your eyes sting, and you can't tell which way is up anymore. Every direction feels like a dead end, and panic starts eating away at you from the inside. I tell myself that this can't be real, that there must be a way out, but every time I try to find one, she tightens her grip. She reminds me of what's at stake, and I freeze like a deer in headlights. You might wonder, why not just let the secrets come out? Why not just face the consequences and be free? I wish it were that simple. Believe me, I've considered it. In moments of desperation, I've asked myself if the cost of keeping these secrets is worth sacrificing my future with the person I actually love. But every time I get close to deciding that I'd rather be true to myself, I remember the faces of the people who would be affected. My family, who trusts me. My friends, who believe in me. The person who looks up to me for guidance. All of them could be collateral damage in the fallout. It's not just my life that could be ruined. There's a ripple effect that could drag others down with me. That's the part that haunts me the most. And yet, as terrifying as the thought of exposure is, there's an equally devastating reality on the other side. If I give in to her demands, if I tie my life to hers in a ceremony that's supposed to be about love and commitment, I lose myself. I become a shell of who I once was. I'll be living a lie every single day, waking up beside someone who doesn't stir any warmth in my heart, making decisions for us, that don't reflect my true desires, building a future on a shaky foundation of deceit. It might keep my secret safe, but at what cost? My soul? My happiness? The love I already have that's so real, so deep, so sincere? Because you are the one who fills my mind when I think about love. It's your face I see when I imagine joy. You're the reason my heart beats faster and slower at the same time. You're the person who showed me what it feels like to be truly understood, truly seen. When I'm with you, I feel like I can breathe, like the world is wide open and full of possibilities. With you, I'm not trapped in the shadows of my past. I'm not haunted by the threat of everything collapsing. I'm just me, imperfect, but accepted, flawed, but cherished. Can you understand now why this is killing me inside? The idea of standing at that altar, wearing a forced smile for everyone to see, knowing that the only person I truly want to be with is standing somewhere else. Maybe not even in the same room. Maybe not even in the same city. Just the thought breaks my heart. It's like walking with shackles that clank with every step, reminding me of the freedom in leaving behind. I keep trying to tell myself that maybe this is just temporary. Maybe if I can get past the ceremony, I can find a way to negotiate my freedom. But the more I think about it, the more I realize how naive that is. A marriage isn't just a singular event, it's a legal and emotional binding that, once formed, becomes infinitely more complicated to break. And if she's willing to blackmail me into marrying her, who's to say she won't hold this over my head for the rest of our lives together? If I give her this much power now, will I ever reclaim control? At night, I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, my thoughts racing in circles. I imagine two parallel worlds. In one, I gather the courage to defy her, to let every secret be exposed, to face the consequences, and come out on the other side, maybe broken, maybe scarred, but still myself, still free to love you. In the other, I go through with the wedding. I keep my secrets safe, but I lose the vibrant colors of life. I lose the chance to hold you without guilt weighing me down. I see myself years from now, waking up every morning with a knot in my stomach and a sense of dread for the day. And you'll be gone. Because how could I possibly ask you to wait around for me? Each vision terrifies me in its own way. In one, I see the destruction of my life's work, my reputation, and the safety of those closest to me. In the other, I see a slow, suffocating existence where every genuine smile is replaced by a hollow imitation. Neither is appealing. Both feel like death. And yet, in just a few days, I'm going to have to choose which path to walk. I wish I could say that I have some grand plan to escape this, that I figured out a way to turn the tables and free myself from her leverage. But I haven't. I'm as lost as I've ever been, and time is running out. Every second feels like a countdown to a future I want no part of. Every morning, I wake up with my stomach in knots, hoping for a miracle that I know deep down won't come. Because miracles don't just happen, we make them happen, or they don't happen at all. And I'm not sure I have the strength to pull one off. I know you must be angry, or confused, or hurt, or maybe all three. Part of me fears you'll never forgive me for even considering this, for not fighting harder, for not believing in the power of our connection more. I want you to know that it isn't about not loving you enough. I love you more than I can articulate. You are the air in my lungs, the light that slices through the darkness, the place my mind goes to when I need to feel safe. Believe me when I say this. My heart is yours. It has always been yours, and it always will be. No matter what ends up happening, you are embedded into my very being. That's why I'm begging you. Please don't forget me, no matter what happens next. If I walk down that aisle, if I say those vows, If I sign that paper, it won't be out of love for her. It won't even be out of some twisted sense of loyalty. It'll be from a place of sheer desperation, trying to protect the fragile structure of my life that's been built on secrets I never wanted to reveal. It'll be the most hollow moment of my existence. And the only thing that might keep me from crumbling on the spot is the memory of what we've shared. The stolen kisses, the laughter, the way your hand fits perfectly in mine. Not asking you to wait for me. I don't have the right to ask that. I've already taken so much from you. Your time, your trust, your vulnerability. I can't ask you to put your life on hold while I stumble through this mess. If you need to walk away to protect yourself, I understand. If you need to hate me, to resent me, to never speak my name again, I'll carry that burden, even though it will break what's left of my heart. All I ask is that you remember what we had, for however long it lasted. Remember that it was real, that it was the truest thing I've ever felt. Part of me still hopes for a spark of courage, a last-minute epiphany that would let me shatter these chains and run to you. But I can't promise that will happen. I've been so preoccupied with survival that I can hardly keep track of the days anymore. The wedding date is approaching with brutal inevitability, like a train barreling down the tracks, unstoppable and deafening. Look at me. Hear the trembling in my voice. See the tears that threaten to fall. This is not who I am. I was never meant to be this powerless. I was never meant to stand before someone at an altar with my heart chained, reciting vows that don't hold even a fraction of the love I feel for someone else. It's an act that goes against everything I believe in. But the fear of the alternative is just as overwhelming. It's as if the entire world has shrunk to a single claustrophobic room, with no doors or windows, just four suffocating walls closing in. I need you to understand, I never wanted to be in this position. I didn't choose it. It's a trap that was set for me, and somehow I walked right into it. If there were any way to go back in time, to prevent her from discovering what she did, to seal up my secrets more securely, to stay honest with you from the very start, I would. God, I would in a heartbeat. But time doesn't work like that. We only move forward, stumbling, desperate, hoping we can salvage some part of ourselves along the way. So here I am, baring my soul to you, begging for your understanding, for your forgiveness, and most of all, for your memory of me, of who I am when I'm with you, who I could have been if this nightmare had never started. I want you to know that if I had a choice, if I truly had a choice, I would choose you. I would always choose you. I'm about to do something that will tear me apart inside. I might have to step forward and say, I do, with a voice that will betray every emotion churning inside me. I will slip a ring on someone else's finger, feeling like I'm slipping a noose around my own neck. And the single hope that might keep me standing, that might keep me from collapsing in despair on that altar, is the knowledge that once upon a time, I loved you without restraint, and that love was real. That love was the purest, most beautiful part of my life. It still is. It always will be. No matter what I say or do on that day, no matter how convincing I might appear to everyone else, know this. My heart remains with you. It's an unspoken truth I'll carry silently inside me, a silent vow that contradicts the one I'll be forced to speak aloud. And even if the world sees me stand there, solemn and compliant, in my mind and soul, I'm running to you. I'm fighting to keep your memory vivid, to keep it from fading in the chaos that's about to unfold. Please, don't forget me. Don't forget us. And know that even if I lose myself in this impossible choice, the love we shared is the one thing that remains untarnished. It's the one piece of light in this suffocating darkness, and I will hold on to it until my last breath.